right, welcome everybody to another episode of Let's Talk ASPM. Let's Talk Application Security Posture Management. This is your host Raj Patil, VP of Marketing at ArmorCode. Today, it's my pleasure to host Gaurav Saxena, Head of Cloud Security at S&P Global. Gaurav, welcome.
Thank you, Raj, and really excited to be part of this podcast. Happy to be part of this.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so I met, just for a bit of a background, I met Gaurav in person at RSA, and since then we have had many interesting discussions on the latest developments in cloud security, AI, application security, and he has a very rich background. Now he's been with S&P Global, one of the big financial firms, for close to 8 years now. And before that, he was at several organizations in IT services and in product companies. So he brings that rich background to the conversation here. So Gaurav, how about this? Can you give us a short background of your professional journey so far?
Sure. Yeah, so I started off with my journey sometime back in 2004, almost 21 years now. And I started off with like a lot of creative areas wherein I was at one point of time, I was part of the electrical engineering group within one of the car automobile company. And that's where I started. And then I moved on to Genpact, which was my one of my employers. And then I moved on to iGate, which is now Capgemini. I worked there for about 8 years, and then I landed into S&P. And it's been like close to 8 years I've been working with S&P. And there has been like a lot of back and forth in terms of the areas that I wanted to get into. So I started off with my cloud architect certification at that time when AWS, all these hyperscalers were kicking in. And that's where I started to architect some of the applications. And then I learned very quickly that security will be part of like every organization across the globe. And that's where I went into the cloud security area, which is what I'm leading in S&P Global currently. And I'm really excited to be part of the cloud security team because a lot of organization we think about like how organization can organically grow from like 10 team members to like 1,000 team members, but in terms of security, that is like the key for any organization in this dynamic environment to sustain. Because as you've seen in the news, right, because of the security breach and data breaches, a lot of organizations are like giving up a lot of money, ransomware, all that stuff is there, right? So I am happy to be part of the cloud security team, and I see myself growing into the security area in the coming years as well.
Right, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your perspective on cloud AI and how AI, so cloud security, and then how AI is impacting the cloud security space. Right. So what's your
Yeah.
take on how AI is impacting cloud security?
Yeah, so I'll start off with like very generic statement wherein AI is part of our daily routine. Doesn't matter like what field you're working on. I'm part of the cloud security team. The AI is part of my daily routine. But then if you're talking about any other area currently, everybody is being tied to AI some way or the other. And that's where I think this AI has becoming a new normal now. And in terms of like cloud security or like the application security area, I think it is very important for us to like get into the secure coding practices wherein AI can help us do a secure coding right from the beginning. So kind of aligning to the shift left approach wherein the moment you start writing a code, that code has to be secure, has to be scanned, all that stuff has to be there. So that's where if we integrate, like I'll give you an example. If I'm a developer, I'm writing a code into an IDE, and then I have an LLM capability to that can rewrite my insecure queries, and then that can prevent the injection attacks. All that stuff is there. And then while I'm doing, it can do a static analysis to generate targeted patches for vulnerabilities like insecure or missing input validation. So this way I can like write my code more efficiently. This can increase speed of the way I deliver my code, and then also enable security to make sure that whatever we are deploying in the cloud environment, it's all secure, and helps us secure the entire enterprise.
All right. So now you talked about Gaurav, how AI is actually helping you write code at a much faster pace and even helping you with some of the security aspects of it. I have a very, very specific question. So now, has AI helps you with code generation? It's introducing a lot of vulnerabilities as well, right? So what kind of strategies are you using to deal with those vulnerabilities that are inadvertently getting introduced?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So let me start off with this. Like, first of all, there's a saying in information security world that whatever you can see, you can protect only that area, right? So if you
Yeah,
cannot see your vulnerability, that means you cannot protect it. So first
yeah.
thing first, how do we make sure that all the vulnerabilities that are there in the organization, doesn't matter if it's an OS vulnerability or if it's a code vulnerability or an infra vulnerability, doesn't matter. How do you bring everything into one centralized capability wherein you can do a correlation, right? So let's say if I have a vulnerability that is a code vulnerability, but also wherever the code is running, it has also has the infra vulnerability, right? How do I do a correlation to make sure I can identify which vulnerability I should target first, right? Because in an enterprise, there are like so many vulnerabilities. There's so much noise that is there, identified by multiple tools. How do you plan to fix these? You cannot plan to fix it like there's no like one single switch that you can turn it on and fix all the vulnerabilities, right? So how do you prioritize which vulnerabilities you should target first? So I'll give you an example wherein a vulnerability like a log4shell, right, running on a public facing cloud service will be flagged as high, right? While
Mhm.
the same issue will not be flagged as high if I'm running it in a dev environment, which is a closed, in a closed environment running,
Mhm.
right? So this is the kind of correlation that AI can help us. And that is where a lot of these ITSM platforms you can integrate, and then you can do an auto generate remediation. You can assign tickets. You can track the resolution. You can do the correlation, and you can still handle without being overwhelmed with the noise of the vulnerabilities that we currently have. And and this is where one of the platforms that we have called ArmorCode, right? So ArmorCode has really helped us since the time we introduced this product in our enterprise. So before ArmorCode, we had like multiple tools, you name it, we will have that particular tool, and it is identifying a lot of vulnerabilities. Now, how do we bring everything into one single platform? That was one area which we are able to achieve with ArmorCode. So we are ingesting all sorts of vulnerability. It doesn't matter if it's cloud, OS, or software, doesn't matter. We're bringing it into ArmorCode, and then ArmorCode is helping us do the risk-based vulnerability management. And it's also AI powered, right? So you can identify which vulnerability is more possesses more risk in your enterprise by doing a threat intelligence feed, and this way we can target the high ones first, and this is very helpful for an enterprise to sustain in terms of the vulnerability management. Now, unified visibility is what I talked about. Then I talked about the risk-based prioritization. So we cannot just rely on the CVSS scores, right? ArmorCode helps us correlate vulnerabilities based on the business context, right? So let's say if it's a high target application, it has mapping to our CMDB, right? So it can identify this application is high target, and then our crown jewels, right? And then it can add a threat intelligence as well, right? So a simple example is like a low severity vulnerability on a critical payment system, which is a publicly exposed one, right? It will be more prioritized than the same high severity issue on a dev box, right? So this
Yeah.
is the kind of correlation that ArmorCode is helping us. And then also the scalable remediation, the automated workflows, automated assigning the tickets to appropriate teams. That is also ArmorCode is helping us.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, to understand, so you are saying you had these various scanners that ranged from application to infrastructure to cloud, right? And
Yeah,
then you're bringing them all in one place, and it is helping you put priority on them based on the business context of the application
correct.
they are on, the whether they are exposed to the internet or not, right? And then
Yes.
you're seeing whether it's been exploited using threat intel, and
Yeah,
then that is actually helping you prioritize this, right? So I have
absolutely.
one of
Yes.
the things that I have seen with S&P Global, which it does really well, is how S&P Global has brought together application security and infrastructure security together
Yeah,
in
correct.
one way, right? Many companies, I'm like, they have two separate teams working on two separate processes, two separate tooling on these things, and consequently, what's in the visibility for one team, it's totally missed on the other. Whereas here, you are bringing that all together in one place, and you can prioritize applications as well as the infrastructure, because at the end of the
Yes.
day, there's no point in securing applications leaving the infrastructure vulnerable,
Yes.
or securing the vulnerable infrastructure secure,
Vice
right?
versa. Correct.
So
Yeah.
I think I have seen you have one of the best programs of bringing those two together in one place.
Yes.
Uh, yeah,
So yeah, so this was like one of the challenges wherein we made a tagline for ArmorCode rollout in S&P Global, wherein we say all road leads to ArmorCode.
oh,
So
really?
this is what we that's how we promote it within the enterprise. That no
I see.
matter if you are a platform owner for a information security tool, your
Yeah,
vulnerabilities should be ingested to ArmorCode. That's the first
yeah,
rule. And then because we have like so many teams under information security, right?
right.
I'll give you one of the examples wherein one of the products that you have released, Anya, which is your AI powered assistant. So
Yeah,
Anya has really helped us in doing the security architecture reviews for the
yeah.
applications, because
Mm,
as part of the security architecture review, we wanted to understand how many open vulnerabilities do you have for your application. And
mm.
we don't have a single pane of glass wherein we can just type in and it can show me, okay, this is your application and these are your infra vulnerabilities, these are your app vulnerabilities, and these are your OS. All that stuff it can produce in one go, right? So that
That's
has really
awesome.
helped us complete the reviews. And without the open vulnerabilities, you're not getting an InfoSec approval, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm like, I mean, it's just the ease with which you just explained,
Yeah,
right? One is I really love all roads lead to Armor Code. I had not heard that even
yeah.
in Armor Code or outside before, but it totally makes sense because that's the story of Armor Code, that any scanner that you have, any vulnerabilities that you have, just integrate on Armor Code. It gives you the
Oh,
whole story in one place,
correct. In
right?
one place. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you are saying with Anya, you can have a general English natural language conversation with it.
Exactly. Yes.
And then
Yes.
security reviews, which used to take a lot of time earlier to bring all the information in one place, you can do that like you're having a conversation with it, right?
Absolutely. And this is like not just for like our team, for like cyber defense team, which we have, which is called the incident management, right? It is also
Mm,
helpful in that case. So if we know there's an open vulnerabilities and one of the applications are affected, we can quickly go and see like what all applications are affected by this open vulnerability, right? And we can
right.
quickly target and then close out that issue.
Right. Yeah, that's fantastic. A great story that I'm sure we'll use in other settings as well here. So in terms of the cloud security itself, I'm like, you have what, Wiz, right? Wiz that you
Yes.
integrate with this one. So
Yes.
tell me if you can share an example of how uh, your experience would have been with ArmorCode and without ArmorCode
Yeah.
in basically, yeah. So
Yeah, as I said, like before ArmorCode, we were like all kind of different teams, and everybody is trying to do their own job. After ArmorCode has brought us together because we are all now working as one team, and then we're trying to identify, triage, and do a better job in terms of patch management, in terms of vulnerability management, in terms of reporting. That is one of the things that I forgot to mention. Like reporting is another important area wherein every tool will have their own reporting, right? How do we
yeah.
standardize the reporting metrics, right? How do we standardize our risk-based approach, right?
Mhm.
Risk-based calculations, right? So this is where I think Armor Code has helped us in streamlining and standardizing across the enterprise.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Instead of talking five different languages when you're talking to your CISO, unlike you have
Yeah.
one standard one. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about AI and the threat modeling, right? So what are the opportunities you see that for AI to automate threat modeling across microservices and cloud native architecture?
Yeah, so AI offers like a range of opportunities to automate threat modeling like across our microservices and cloud native architectures. We wanted to make it like more faster, more scalable, and more adaptive. That's where I think one of the key areas is the automated service discovery. So AI can continuously scan our cloud environments to identify all the new microservices that are coming in, the APIs, and then the data flows. So this will help us eliminate the need for like manual architecture mapping, right? So we don't really have to create manual architecture based on what microservices are running in the environment. The other area is the real-time threat identification. So AI models can detect insecure configuration right away and then expose endpoints like the public endpoints with critical data that they are serving, and then the risky service interactions like a public facing APIs without authentication. So this is something the AI models can detect, and accordingly we'll be able to secure it quickly. And the third point is the contextual risk scoring. So AI can assign dynamic risk scores based on the service criticality. Now, it doesn't have to be static, right? Keeping in mind that we are living in all the dynamic environment. So we need a dynamic risk score based on the service criticality, the data sensitivity, the exposure. All that stuff will help us prioritize the threats that are more important for our enterprise. The other one is the attack path simulation. So AI models can potentially detect the lateral movement across multiple services within the cloud environment. And this is where the attackers might exploit the vulnerability. So that is very important. And then we're talking about the continuous model updates. So as you know, the infrastructure evolves like every other minute, right? So AI can automatically update the threat models to reflect new services, like what all new services are being released by the hyperscalers and what all permissions and network changes are happening in your environment. And then last but not the least, the DevSecOps integration. And this is probably one of the most important points that we need to take care. So AI can do a threat modeling that can be embedded directly into the CI/CD pipelines, generating models for new features and flagging the risky design patterns before the actual deployment happens.
All right. Okay. Gaurav, thank you so much. I mean, like each one of the topics that you mentioned, I mean, like we can have 30-minute conversations on each one of them by themselves, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
uh, there's so much to talk about. But what we'll do is we'll keep those for our next podcast. We'll do a podcast again. So for now, I think we'll take a leave at this point. I really appreciate you joining us and sharing your perspectives on cloud security, application security, and AI, and how it's all coming together. And ultimately, for the business, how you are using the experience that you have in this one to prioritize what really matters for the business in terms of the vulnerabilities that you have. For the audience who are listening to this, Gaurav also spoke at the PPC Connect at RSA. He talked about AI in application security. Highly recommend. It's available on the Purple Book community website. So until next time, Gaurav, thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming on this show.
No, I think thank you for this opportunity, and it's always I'm always glad to be a part of any PBC public speaking or podcast. It really helps me like to build my own expertise and then share it with the larger group.
All right.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. Thank you.